I'm Joseph Ferraro. This is Ferraro&Friends. To my right, it's Durena. To my left, JJ Liberman. Two comedian powerhouses from Canada.
How you doing, man? You doing good?
Oh, dude, I'm doing great. I've been trying to research.
No,
you
you
guys.
haven't. You had a friend die yesterday. What are you talking about? You're doing great. You had a fucking friend die yesterday.
This is not a great start to the podcast.
What do you mean? This is a great start.
No, he's a liar. He's a liar and a broken man.
That is hilarious. Yes, a comedian by the name of Donovan or Crip Daddy passed away.
Oh man!
And he was your good friend.
Yeah, he was a good friend.
Yeah.
Rip.
So there you go.
Rip
Yeah.
F in the chat.
No, he's funny.
Funny guy.
Yeah.
Funny guy. Would he have appreciated that?
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
So there you go. We know a kid. Did you ever meet Matt?
Matt?
I think-
Oh, Billin?
Yeah.
No, I never met Matt Billin.
I had not a friend, but an acquaintance who used to open for Norm Macdonald, and when Norm died, he flew himself to Mexico to hang himself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, he had a rough break, man. Dude was very funny, dude. Would like kill, like hammered all the time. Was like one of the, like some dudes could just like perform super drunk. He was like able to.
Yeah, people die in comedy,
Yeah,
baby.
dude, death is weird to me. Like I was telling you this like before.
So excited to die.
Yeah, no.
Wow, dude,
I
I'm
like
so like.
it's like when people die, it's like a high school thing. Like when school's over, you don't see them ever again.
Yeah.
So like I kind of just associate, like class is over.
Yeah, no, I think I like a death gives me all relief of stress. Like anytime I worry about anything or I have any sort of contemplation that like, what if I don't get this thing, or what if no one listens to my comedy or this video doesn't, I'm like, oh, well, you'll die. That's wherever we all go.
Yeah.
So it just relaxes me knowing that I'm going to die. It gives me sweet peace.
I asked Daniele Bolelli. Do you know how to say his name? Daniele Bolelli. He does History on Fire. I don't know how to say his name correctly, but I love him. Like I've listened to him multiple times, and he was a guest on Danny Polshuk's podcast.
Yeah.
And I called in, and he's like brilliant. Like he's a Buddhist. He does a lot of stuff with Dan Carlin. He does stuff with Duncan Trussell. He's been on Rogan. Like everyone respects him, and he's fucking just a badass. He like does BJJ. And he's one of the smartest people I've ever heard talking. And I was talking to him. I called into the show. I said, hey, man, I had a couple questions for you. The first question was, do you ever think there was like a civilization like this that we have now, where they had the internet, like a very advanced civilization?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, he thinks there was something. But then the second question was about death, the void. I mean, like when I speak to someone intelligent, how do you break down? Like, because to me, you're intelligent.
Oh,
you're not.
you.
I don't know if you're book smart, but you've grasped life. Like you understand it, right? So your perspective on death is interesting to me. And also, someone who is like Bolelli is like, let me ask you about your death. Doesn't like just the darkness. Just think. Did you ever think about? And he went on this thing about, yes, it's like it does scare him, just the absolute darkness of life. But he says he's had multiple encounters, and he didn't want to get too into it, where he thought, like in terms of afterlife, he just said there were weird things that happened. And like, again, it was a time thing that he said he was pretty confident that something happens more than just your consciousness, or it just shuts off.
And whether it is or isn't, it's inevitable.
It also doesn't even matter.
Yeah. That's what gives me the peace. It's like because I think there was this thing with Uber where they found one of the things that helped people was the showing where the car is. That's like, because that calms you, the certainty of knowing how far away the car is from you.
Yeah.
And when you order a cab before, it was that uncertainty that would stress you out. So for me, it's the certainty of knowing that death is unavoidable that I'm like, oh, well, I have nothing to stress about. Whether I am stressed or not stressed about it, I will die. Absolutely.
See, that's like a weird thing, because like for me personally, you've just a very like different like view.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever someone dies, like me, like Donovan, it like boosts me like because like I have this
You're like, yeah, I'm still alive, motherfucker. You're dead, piece of shit.
What less do you need at my spots?
That's what he said. He's like outlasting his friends. You selfish cunts. People are gonna celebrate when you die.
No, I mean like I want to leave my mark.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not like I
Just
don't.
fucking come on a wall.
Oh yeah.
On a
Go in
wall.
the Smithsonian or whatever that is.
I'll leave a mark for sure.
Oh no, I was more like thinking of like a Mitch Hedberg or like a Kennison.
You want to be remembered as a great comic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
It-
that's another thing. Sorry to cut you off. In 100 years, dude, there's gonna be nukes that fucking flatten this earth.
Yeah, I
And
won't be alive.
There will be no mark left.
But the cool thing, the thought of a young kid like me going up on YouTube or whatever platform there is then and saying, "Oh, who the fuck's this guy?" Then like looks at me and is like, "Whoa."
Yeah, I think whatever.
It's like a cool thing to image, like to imagine someone else.
whatever
thinking you're brilliant.
whatever your motivations are, I think
Yeah.
like that, whatever forces you to like feel fulfilled and feel inspired and to create what you see as like the good in the world. I'm very aware that like I think like if you probably won't get remembered, not specifically you, but
Yeah.
just people.
Specifically
Yeah.
you.
You're
I
not
spoke with you.
important. Yeah, yeah.
No, but the vast majority of people aren't remembered like 100, 200 years after
Yeah,
they
of
die.
course.
And then the ones that are remembered are probably remembered in a way that's perverted in a way they would never want to be remembered.
Yes.
Like you look at someone like Hitler, or the way we represent Hitler now and the way we talk about him and the way he's like that Springtime for Hitler. What's that movie that fucking Taika Waititi played him in? Jojo Rabbit.
Oh,
So like
Not even that one. And also too Inglorious Bastards.
yes.
Yeah.
So if Hitler saw himself in that, he would probably be like mortified. So even the people that are remembered
Yeah.
forever are probably remembered in ways they never wished to be remembered.
So that's a culture of 150 million people that love that. I guarantee you there's hundreds of millions that aren't open about how that just love Hitler for the way they
oh
thought.
yeah, for like his
Yeah,
credit.
we're just, in America, like in North America.
There's still Nazis and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was very good at speaking. That's like, I mean, that's
He's
what-
also very good at genocide.
Yeah, dude, one
I
of the
mean,
tops.
he's no Genghis Khan, but
No,
like,
No, oh dude, I love Genghis Khan.
yeah,
So do I.
dude,
Yeah,
that dude, I think wasn't it like he killed 10% of the world at
Something wild.
Yeah.
It's like over 100 million people I think he killed, and he killed so many people the world got colder. That's wild.
that's
That's
such
a
a-
crazy
Really?
stat. Yeah, the
dude. If
temperature.
I'm
like,
Genghis
went-
Khan and I hear that like after I'm dead, I'm like, oh, that's fucking.
Dude. But even he didn't want to be remembered. Every painting of Genghis Khan is done after he died. He wouldn't let anyone paint
Really?
him.
Really?
No one knows where he's buried because he didn't want to be worshipped.
He's insecure.
Why?
Because he didn't want to be. He's like, I did my shit. He was like,
Right.
dude, for all the shit he did, he had no ego, bro. Like he's
Same with Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, dude.
They're just
How
like,
do you do that? Like,
I don't know, bro. He was about
That's how
like,
you're
getting it done.
successful, man.
Yeah.
Marcus Aurelius wrote the meditations based off of just himself, like his own journal, and someone found it and published it. Obviously, like that's another thing. People, whoever like published it was like, great idea, and the guy's probably like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like 2000 years ago, he didn't want that published. He
Yeah,
did that
yeah.
for himself, and now all these tech bros and fucking fairies who are living by stoicism are using his personal thoughts and monetizing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I mean, everyone has their own motivations for living life. I think there was like me and a couple buddies who went up to my friend's cottage. It was like 10 of us were all comics, and we just like ate mushrooms, went for hikes, talked shit, laughed super hard. And the guy whose cottage it was, and this isn't a nice cottage. This is like a place where the toilet didn't work. We would like ride bikes down to next to the water because there was like a toilet there. Like it was fucking,
Fucking dumps.
it was a little dumpy place, but the guy whose cottage it was like, this is what it's about for me. Like all of us getting together, hanging out with your friends, laughing super hard, eating good food, and like having these moments. And I'm like, yeah, I think he's right.
Yes,
I think-
100%.
No, yeah, absolutely.
There's no, the only reason I do like we do the road a lot, and by we I mean I get to go on the road with Che. So, but one of the most we were in Vegas, and I kind of felt bad because I flew out a day early. I thought Che was leaving, or Che had someone girl coming, and The only regret is when I do stuff like that, not, whether it's Chair Ryan or anybody, not hanging out with my buddies, not getting food after shows. I think it takes away, because everyone at the end of the day, you're all doing shows, everyone's doing tours, and everyone's successful in some regard. But if you can't shoot the shit, be extremely racist, and misogynistic at a table in front of food, what's the point?
Yeah, dude.
Joseph Biden here, just to say, I love Ferraro and Friends. It's my favorite podcast. So funny and original. Yo, Obama, did you hear about the Casket Comedy Show, October 19th?
Joe, I'm so excited. I heard that the comedians are wearing costumes. Biden, are you wearing a costume?
I want to be Batman. He's so young and cool, and he has a butler and a fast car. What were we talking about? Oh, yes, Casket Comedy, October 19th, 9 p.m. I already bought my tickets.
Everyone's doing their work and stuff. My perspective on it is I got to ride on a private jet once. This
really?
A very rich dude flew me to a place to do a private gig.
No, when was this?
This was last year, December.
It was my
God.
Where was this?
It was to Canada. It was actually to Kitchener.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was very cool. But I'm sitting on a jet with people I don't know, and there's some snacks and stuff, and it's fine. But it's that I'm on one of the most exclusive, expensive things you can do, and it was it's something I forgot about. And then when but that moment I had hanging with my buddies at the cottage, or when me and my friends are hanging out, or my buddy just came and visited me for 4 days, and we just drank and ate and fucking watched movies. That is, I would do that 100 times out of 100 over the private jet any other time. I would take a road, actually maybe this is because it'd be, but a road trip with your buddies rather than a quick flight. It would be way more fun, way more enjoyable, way more of experience. And so this quest for acquiring and wealth, and you want enough so you're comfortable, you don't have to worry about things, and you can do all the things you want to do and travel and see all this shit. But if the experiences and enjoyment isn't worthwhile, it's worth nothing.
Yeah, no, my brother is a lot cooler than me.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say your brother's dead too.
Jesus Christ. No dead siblings yet. But my brother, he's 2 years older than me, so as the younger brother, I was always friends with his friends. And we took a trip to Lake George, which is upstate New York, 5.5, 6 hours away, which was the worst ride of all time.
Yeah.
But because it was so bad and we were suffering together, it was more fun than a direct flight.
Oh yeah. By the way, I don't know if I hijacked the show with you. Do you want to get to your gay cards?
I can get to the gay cards.
Gay cards.
I know you.
Do you have a jingle? It's gay card time. Time for gay cards. Pull out your dicks. We're all gayness cards. There we go.
I'm just gonna rip it off from that.
Okay. Is this the actual theme of the show, or do you want to talk like human beings, or do you want to do your
We're gonna
idea
talk to human beings. I just I deep dived into you, and which is a super hard thing because you deleted your Instagram.
I didn't delete it. The fucking
the
can
hackers.
you bleep if I say that be bleeped?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, bleep that. The Instagram they deleted me. I had no choice.
Yeah. And so I was trying to deep dive, and the only thing I saw you in you have a what's the thing when you're in a film?
A movie?
An IMDb.
IMDb, yeah.
You were on a short film called Welcome to Bloomingdale's in 2014.
Dude, people love that.
I haven't.
Welcome to Bloomsdale.
Really?
Yeah.
I spelled Bloomsdale. All right.
Who cares?
Dude, I've been trying to find it, but every time I look it up, Bloomingdale's coupons pop up.
Do you want to know how bad this thing went? They hated me. So it was a student film. It was the first thing I wanted to act, right?
Yeah.
I got into comedy for the idea of I want to be famous. And then once you start doing it for a year or so, you're like, oh, fuck it. I just love doing comedy.
Yeah.
So I got into the student film. I took all the acting classes, and then I got booked off. There's a site called, did you ever use Mandy.com?
Yeah. Absolutely,
okay. So I got booked off Mandy.com to be a lead in a short film, a student short film. And the short film was an hour away from my city, my place. So I went up every day for 2 days. And then they called me and they're like, hey, this is a week later. They're like, we need to reshoot one scene. And I'm like, no, right? So I didn't come up. So when the release came out, they didn't even invite me to the release party.
That's very
And I was the lead of that movie.
And they didn't invite you.
They didn't invite me. They hated me. Because another comic messaged me because it was a whole thing. Like it was like a Humber College, the North Campus up in northern Toronto. The guy's like, hey, why aren't you at this thing? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I see they're playing your movie right now. You're the lead and you're not here. I'm like, oh, I didn't get the invite. So.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so they were like, yo, we need to do reshoots. And you're like, no. Dude, have you ever heard that Werner Herzog story? Do you know Werner Herzog?
Yeah, of course.
So
documentary.
Yes,
yeah, the best.
Who
He's
is
the
that?
best.
Werner Herzog's a documentary, documentarian. He did that Man Lives with Bear Man or whatever.
Okay.
The one where the dude,
yeah.
Grizzly Man. The guy lived with grizzlies. He did the documentary about this guy,
Really?
and the guy got eaten at the end.
No!
Yeah, and there's like footage of it.
Where in the Antarctic?
I don't know. I don't think it was in the Arctic, but this dude was filming himself living with grizzlies, and the grizzlies killed him. And then Werner Herzog does a thing about his life and has the footage and all this stuff.
Wow.
But Werner Herzog, there's this, I don't know if it's a true story, but there's this legend about him that he was filming some movie in like the Amazon rainforest or like deep in the forest. There's bugs, there's snakes. It's a rough shoot. And they have like a day left of shooting, maybe like a half day. And the lead is like, I'm fucking done. I'm getting on a boat. I'm getting out of here. I'm done. And if he leaves and then goes to a hotel and like the whole production has to move out and come back, it's going to set everything back like a week, 2 weeks. And so the guy's on the boat, he's like, we're leaving. Werner Herzog takes out a gun, puts it on his head and goes, you're going to finish the scenes.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true.
A guy like that who's one of literally the best and he does like crazy shoots.
Yeah.
I could get that, right? Like I could see that happening. Like get your fucking job done.
There was he was in fucking, what's it called too? The Mandalorian, the Star Wars fucking
reboot.
So they have that little Grogu, the baby Yoda, and they were going to use like a CGI version for it. And when Werner heard that, he was like, you are cowards.
Really? But because there is again, it's like the difference between a comic and an actor. It's like we're dealing with something that's like so close to reality, even though it's like, you know,
you're embellishing and stuff.
Yeah. You embellish the truth like 10, 15%, maybe even sometimes 20%. And then other guys who, like, when I watch, they're doing it like 80%. I'm like, how is the crowd that fucking stupid? Mm-hmm. Or are they just like going along with it? Like when there's a magician on stage.
Well, like also like Norm Macdonald, he wrote this book. It's like a famous book he wrote, and like 100% of the book isn't true.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a memoir too.
No way.
Yeah, but it's you know, it's so outlandish that you know it's all fake.
Which is Mark Norman said he read the book. And he said up till like 45 pages in, it's like, it's believable.
Yeah, well, some people are fucking stupid. Right? Like, some people are fucking stupid. There's still people wearing masks outside. They're going for fucking walks in their masks outside. You give them this book, they're going to, they're fucking retarded. We live in a society of dumb fucking people.
But that was also Norm's thing. He's like one of the best trolls of all time.
Yeah.
Like,
but Norma is brilliant.
Oh no, absolutely.
One of the best.
Yeah.
One of the best.
And like the balls that guy had.
Yeah, dude. His talk show.
I heard he had a nice.
He had a nice cock. Really?
Yeah, no.
His talk show was amazing.
So good.
You want to? The last thing about the talk show. You want to see something scary? You ever watch the Larry King interview with him?
No.
So Larry King's like literally on his deathbed, and this is not on his deathbed, but he's like, he's in his 80s. Yeah. And Larry King survived like 80 heart attacks or something. And even talking to Norm, he was like, "Oh, I'm scared of death." And could you imagine living your whole life being in and he's like, "I don't want to go."
I don't want to die.
I don't want to get to that point.
No.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be chill, ready to die when I die.
I wish I could
the
get
thing
like that.
The thing with Norm, he had cancer for like 12 years and said nothing.
Yeah.
So my buddy opened for Norm.
Oh yeah?
He was here Sunday night.
Okay, sick.
So he did Brooklyn Comedy Club and he opened for Norm, and he knew something even Norm wouldn't tell him. But he knew something was up because he helped Norm with stuff, and and even Norm didn't even tell him, but he kind of knew something was going on. But Yeah.
That's crazy.
Life's fucking different. People deal with this shit differently. Like that one guy from Black Panther. He didn't tell nobody.
Yeah, dude. Still a great actor. It's like the weirdly like very good ones that say like nothing when they have
Well, I
cancer.
think it's also it's no one's fucking business. Like
Yeah.
there's a weird thing with internet culture right now, and it's been going on for a long time, but there's kind of you draw a line in the sand of like how much of your life you're willing to give to people.
Mhm.
Like what you see what's going on with Logan Paul right now.
With his wife.
Yeah, his wife. It's
So
like,
what's the whole story? I actually just saw the memes and stuff like that, but I haven't gotten into it.
So Logan is fighting Dylan Dennis. Dylan Dennis is kind of like this disgraced. He was once a very respected MMA fighter,
Mhm.
and now is kind of a joke in MMA,
Mhm.
but is known for like just running his mouth and talking shit. So they are setting up a boxing match. It's good, and so what Dylan is doing to fuck with Logan is he has pulled up every single dude who his fiance has dated or like taken a picture with or anything. Like she's fucked all these guys.
I would
basically.
find that so hot.
I mean, it's a great way to sell tickets.
It's a great way to sell tickets, but it's like this is what happens when you put so much of your personal life out there. So much of every aspect of Logan Paul's life is content that he puts out into the world. And you can choose to do that, or you can choose to draw a line in the sand where it's like, this is none of your business. Like a big part of a lot of this like debate culture on podcasts where people are like, women need to be like this, or men need to be like this, or your relationship should be like this. It's people worried about what the outward perception is when it's just, if you date someone and your relationship is good and you have your own agreements within that relationship, it's no one else's fucking business. And if you feel insecure about something, you don't need someone's outwardly opinion to come into your relationship. You need to settle that with the person you're in the relationship with.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people thinking that their lives are other people's business can fucking tear shit apart. So keeping that stuff like your cancer and stuff private, it's like, yeah, this is mine. I'm dying. It doesn't matter to you.
You know, Christopher Ryan, who wrote Sex at Dawn about the bonobos, about bonobo mating, how they're like our closest primates, said one thing interesting. So he kind of says, since they're our closest primates, this human sexuality is actually pretty close to that. So as you know, the traditional idea of human sexuality is not what it is. It's more of a construct maybe, but he won't talk about him and his wife's relationship, about if they're open or not, because then he doesn't want people to think that he has like a narrative. He has a bias to how the book comes out. So I think that's a good idea. I mean, we're in a different boat because we do comedy, so we're kind of out there. But anyway, sorry again. I know you want to get
no, you're all good.
God forbid I want to take away from great conversation to do your cue cards, but we can.
With like privacy. It's a weird thing, like especially in different like industries in entertainment. Like YouTubers, they're for most part are very closed off. But like with people like Logan Paul, everything's just out
But you
there.
have to be. That's what people want now. Like,
I think you can control it.
Well, you control. Well,
I draw a line of how much I'm willing to show. Like when I go back and visit my family, I don't do any content with my family. But there's someone like what's his name, Two-Turn Tony, amazing content, and has created this whole world with like his family and his sister and his mom and his dad, and they're all characters. And I think I don't know how much of his the sketch stuff or the videos are true and not true, and these things happening. But he has created a whole world by giving so much of himself to the people, and they will eat that up. I'm not interested in doing that with my life. Like I have a certain amount of level of success, and if I can only get to a certain point by giving people what I'm willing to give them, then I'm fine with that. And I will stay at that level. Or if I give people a potent enough experience through the stand-up or through the other content that I create, and it elevates me to a higher level just purely on the content, then that's what they get. But they won't get the bits of my life that I don't want to give them.
Yeah. Like a lot of my material is just family based, but I don't want them to like know my family.
Like the stuff I put out there is like I talk a lot about like my opinions on sex, my opinions on relationships, my opinions on drugs, and these are all things that I feel like shouldn't be private, similar to this like bonobo thing. Like I don't think the taboos around sex are healthy or necessary. I think they're like religious constructs that have been passed down. And so I don't feel the shame or weirdness about talking about these things publicly. But the things I would like to protect, because I know what the internet's like and how they'll come down on, like, yeah, if maybe they'll fuck with my family members or fuck with my friends or fuck with people that I don't want to get fucked with because I'm just chasing a passion of entertaining. So those things I keep private.
Yeah, and then it becomes actually a fine. The problem is that you start talking about your personal life, like in terms of like family and people in your personal life.
Yeah,
and then it hits.
Yeah,
and then you're like, oh,
do I sell this? Do I keep feeding this?
That was kind of like the whole show of Bernie Mac was based off that milk and cookies bit, and then it turned into an actual show. He talked about taking over his sister's kids because she was a drug addict. So for me, like I actually don't see, me personally, I think when I do this, it's full game. Like everything's on the table. Which might upset people in my family. But I understand, like I totally get, like there's just certain things like you don't want to shine light on people who don't want light. It's not,
people should be able to be left alone.
Yeah. Anyways,
100%.
Let's get to. I want to see if this is a good idea.
Fair enough.
I want to see what this what is it? The cue card session.
Gay cue cards. You were in Heavy Metal Hitchhiker.
Yes, I was.
Yes. How much of that scene was improv?
And almost none of it was improv, but there's this weird aspect of method acting that was completely unintentional that went into it. So in that Heavy Metal Hitchhiker scene, I play this like crazy dude who lives in a van. Hank, yes. And it's all fucking scripted and everything. But the night before, I was shooting with this cannabis company, and we were doing shooting the CBD oil, and the CBD oil had like a very small percentage of THC in it, but I had to do so many shots of me eating it, putting it in food and eating the food, that I got so fucking high, like so retardedly high, that I got home and I was like, oh, I'm pretty high. And then I did a workout. I remember I was doing kettlebell swings, and I was so high that I thought I found a new area of my lungs to breathe into. And I was like, dude, I was like, holy shit, I'm like a Superman now. But then I got to this next level of high where my roommate and his girlfriend were downstairs talking, and I thought I was hearing their thoughts, like reading minds. Yeah, I'm like going fully insane. And then I'm going through my Instagram being like, all of this is shit. Everything sucks. Everything I ever made. I delete like a bunch of shit off my Instagram. I'm like, this is horrible. I like start looking at plane tickets to like Mozambique because because I was like, I need to quit comedy. Comedy's stupid. It gives nothing to the world. I need to be like humanitarian. I need to dig wells. I need to give back to humanity.
Oh my God.
I like lose it. Like I'm fucking gone. And then I'm up all night because I can't sleep because I'm so fucking high. I eventually fall asleep. I was supposed to get picked up at like 7:30 to go to this shoot. At like 8:30, my roommate wakes me up and is like, Che, there's someone at the door for you. It's the guy who's supposed to pick me up to take me to shoot. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I quickly get dressed. I get in the car and they drive me there. And I'm still rock stoned.
That's
still so high, almost no sleep. And all these thoughts I have are still very real and present in my brain.
Sitting in the van like this.
And they're like, and I get there, I apologize profusely. I'm like, I had this thing happen last night with this weed, and like we did the shoot and I got way too high. So like, and then I have to play a crazy stoner in a van.
So that's great, dude, man. So that I've been high like that where you wake up and your eyes are still fucking red.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, once you sleep it off, once you piss it all out, you feel great.
You come back.
Yeah.
I still never lost that thought though. That comedy is stupid and gives nothing to the world.
Really?
Yeah, I never lost
from
it.
that moment.
From that moment, I've still like, I'll see like when I see like struggling in the world, I'm like, oh yeah, if I dedicated all the time I do to doing stand-up to like helping people, that would actually be a value to the world.
I still think there is something that, like last night, for example, you had two like rock star shows. I still think there is something where you're like, yes, I could dig a well, and some people can drink clean water, or you can give people who have not necessarily found this fucking like break in life, this break from their reality, whether it's like they've made choices to work 9 to 5 and they have to do it to support a family, or they're going through a divorce. Like I've had people come up to me like after shows and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for that. And it's like, you're doing something. It's just, it's not quantified in the same way as like maybe necessarily a doctor saving someone's life, but you are momentarily hypnotizing someone who goes to a show and you're like, and they're like, you know,
they're having a good time. I think the difference is the intent. That's what sticks in my head. It's like the intent of stand-up has never been, and from the beginning to now, has never been like, oh, I'm doing this to help people. No, I'm doing this because I want to be very funny and because I think I can be great at this and because
make money. Yeah.
Like,
be successful.
Exactly. Where I think if your intent from day one is like, I'm doing something to better people's lives, that's a completely different thing.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, because I agree with you. I'm not doing this like for like I'm still like super selfish in some regards, but trying to be less selfish. But yeah, I get what you mean. But then there's also the thing like where I meditate every day and stuff like that, and it's like you still don't have as much peace as you really want, right? You know, it's the same kind of concept, but you're still creating peace. But I'm like, well, then if I want true peace and true serenity, I have to move to Tibet and become a Buddhist, right? And become, or I can do the things I want and still get a little bit of peace for what makes me be able to like not go insane.
And then there's no proof that if you do the Tibet thing and you give up all these things and you fucking like become a monk, it's like, is that life better?
Oh,
like,
it could be fucking miserable.
I don't know. I feel like if you're like if you were in this type of society, like monks can't have sex. They can't marry anyone.
They all fucking break the rules too.
You think so?
Of course.
There was some monastery that got busted because everyone was doing crystal meth.
Of course. Do I think so? What do you mean, do I think so? All these priests that fucking rape kids. What do you mean, do I think so? They've taken a fucking oath to God and still break it. The fucking
but like
hypocrites.
Monks.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I guess.
It's all a fucking cult. This is a cult too.
No, comedy is a huge cult.
Yeah, it's all
of course
a
it
cult.
is.
It's all a game. By the way, that's I didn't know if you want to see like.
Oh, I was having fun. You
got two fucking talented people and you're kicking us out for fucking two open micers.
All right, we'll do one more question.
We'll
you
do it
used
quick.
to give out giveaways on your Instagram.
Oh yeah, long time ago. I did one once.
Yeah, you were giving out a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, that was like a long time ago. I partnered up with another creator who was like, do you want to do this giveaway? It'll boost both our platforms. And what I learned from giveaways is never do giveaways.
Oh yeah, no.
Not loyal.
They're not loyal. No, there's not. No one's following you for the content. And the attach rate is horrible. Next time you post, you lose a ton of followers. It's a very vapid, soulless. I think like it's not a good way to create fans.
I went to the comment section of one of the tagged posts like of the giveaway.
Yeah,
and some guy was claiming he won the Switch.
Yeah,
and I DM'd him, and like he like took me on a roller coaster, and at the end of it, he's like, "Yeah, like I didn't win it."
Yeah,
and I was like, "What the fuck? Why would you lie to me?"
Yeah, no, there's I would just the long story short is just don't do giveaways.
That's a great word that I never use, but every time I hear it, vapid.
Vapid, yeah,
it's a fucking
good one.
That's it's a pleasing sounding word.
Yeah.
By the way, so you were telling me outside, how deep did you go? You said you went deep into you couldn't find much of mine.
Well, yours,
but then you
like,
brought up the Corner Comedy. He mentioned Corner Comedy Club, our home club in Toronto.
There wasn't much. Like, he had pretty much every poster he's ever been on for the past 13, 14, 15 years.
10 years, fucking idiot.
You're old.
Nah.
Yeah, and like I didn't see any flyers that you guys were like on. Together.
I mean, there was probably some.
A lot of shit. We've done a lot of shit in Toronto. We did. I actually had a video that I just posted where I used to lose control on stage all the time, and some chick was on the phone.
What do you mean, like for having a bad set, or like?
Oh yeah, just
Okay.
just become like hot-headed and something
Yeah.
like that. And some chick was on the phone, and I posted this clip a couple weeks ago. This must be from 2018. And I'm like, why are you on your phone? And I go on this rant. I'm like, you're at the #1 comedy club on Facebook in Toronto, and you're on Tinder trying to look for a dick. And I go, this dick right here. And then, but then I'm getting off stage. I always thought, one of the things I always thought, like before I got to New York City, there was this idea I had to like show respect to like the guy. You know, a lot of people in Toronto just come to comedy to just watch comedy, but I always wanted to pump up like whoever's like after me in Toronto. Like I would say, oh, you're gonna love your headliner, because that's how I thought. Now I just think of it as just a showcase show. But then I was getting off stage in most 2017, 2018. I'm like, okay, thank you guys. You're gonna love your headliner, Chain Durena. We did so many shows together. Me, Ryan. There's a bunch of us that
Yeah.
Yeah,
did.
dude. Toronto killer scene.
Toronto
It's,
makes a lot of
Also a lot of
people.
dads there. But
Well, yeah, that's every comedy scene. But like, there's like some places like weirdly enough, Arizona has a lot of newcomers coming out.
Yeah,
Like the new faces. The kid was 19.
there's always Pittsburgh kind of just, or not Pittsburgh, Philly just had their
Yeah.
moment.
Well, yeah.
Where like a lot of really like some of the best
Yeah.
comics.
Shane, yeah.
I mean,
Shane,
Gillis,
Are You Garbage
McCusker.
Guys, yeah,
Yeah.
like all these guys.
They had the boom.
You know
Yeah.
what? You know what's making comedy so much better is because it's an information game, right? Like you understand what the process is, but still the elite cities are going to be the ones with the most spots,
Yeah.
right? Like
Well,
you
yeah,
can be
of
good,
course.
you can be really good. But the other thing too, I think people get blinded by the fact that someone might be big in a certain scene and they're really a big fish in a small pond. But then if they were to make this move here, I don't know if they could catch as much heat as they have. And also too, there is the desire, and I'm not saying anything about this kid. I'm just saying in general, because I see a lot of young kids. The kid who did your show last night, fucking brilliant, and he's gonna be famous.
Which
I think
one?
Assad.
Oh yeah,
Assad Bembo, very good
yeah,
friend of
yeah.
mine. He just got a MTV Wilded Out.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be super famous. But still, at the end of the day, like as funny as this younger guy is, you still take a guy who's been with no like in terms of mainstream success, who's a killer. Those they're gonna murder still, and they're gonna make it tough for a young guy to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like it's and also to ask a young guy to do 15 minutes showcase set at the end of a show that Ryan, Sean Patton's been on. They're gonna. Man, it's gonna be tough.
Something that is really good about being in New York is you do get humbled very often.
Yeah, which I like. I hate, but I also enjoy. Like, every single show, almost every single show that you've been on, I had to go up either right after you or right before you. Because like I want to get buried so I can get better.
It's I think it's a good thing.
Because like I know people that's been doing it 9-10 years, and they struggle to follow like kids.
Whoa, hey, I'm right here.
You guys are very like two different comedians. You're very sporadic, and like I don't know if a professional is a way to define someone. You ever like see a comedian is like they're just like a professional type. But like no, you guys, I do think you guys are gonna be the next generation.
I mean, we're working on
Which
it.
He is. Yeah, he is.
all right, I think. Well, yeah. Well, it's you haven't got your props yet, or like
I've only been in New York a year.
Yeah. Still, it's a time thing. Same even with Ryan. Ryan really is starting to
Ryan Long.
Yes, people
very
are like
funny.
starting. There is a thing that people are going to fight, especially with someone like Che, who is. Someone said this to me last night, and they're like, people were skeptical because of his social media following. Because there's been a lot of comics that came from social media that have a stink on them because they suck.
Yeah.
But this guy's always been a comic. He was a comic before he blew up. And he's already, before he blew up, he'd probably done what, 3,000, 4,000 sets?
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's like 10 years in and doing comedy all the
No,
time.
no,
Maybe even more than
Like-
4,000
Yeah,
sets.
no, you grinded, and
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Still.
people want to fight the fact that the undeniability, right? So they're going to fight it the first time around. They're going to fight it the second time around. But then there comes a time when then you see someone like him on stage who's just killing and is making for like good comics. It's tough for they're following him, and a good established comic is having a tough time because again, it's just the connection. It's yeah.
You just keep killing is all it is. You keep killing. Opportunities come from you killing, and you try to kill on each platform you get on. You're doing your socials, you get on YouTube, whatever. And eventually it's like, yeah, now I'm selling tickets and I'm touring and I'm doing all these things. There's a lot of comics that are working clubs that won't put me up, that can't move the tickets I do,
which
that
is
don't
weird.
have the stuff. But
Yeah,
it's like
weird. It is fucking weird, and I can't say certain things because I'll burn too many bridges.
Yeah, I won't mention the clubs, but there is like plenty of clubs that just do it for status.
But
and
I'm
stuff.
just like, but I just don't care. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm not hungry for spots. I'm doing 10 to 20 spots every week, and I'm like,
all right,
we're wrapping.
It's pretty much time.
Yeah, okay, all right,
no,
guys.
but,
suck your own dick.
No, genuinely, thank you, JJ, Che.
Hell yeah, man. It was
Have a
great.
good one.
It was
Yeah,
fun.
thank you.
Good luck with
Yes.
this.
Bye.